welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video I'll be exploring the history and honestly the truth behind definitely another part of forgotten history that I don't think gets enough justice, which is the history of the Belgian Congo. Condense this video down, obviously don't want to make this too long. There's quite a lot of videos already online about it. I think Civil History and History Matters have done one. However, I feel like they've never actually done a full one, specifically just on the Congo. So that's why I decided to make it. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight into the video. The year 1885 wasn't unforgiving year for pretty much anyone living in Africa, really. I mean, the Scour Africa and the Belgian Congo had been called the year before. Many countries, including Norway, Iceland, even the United States, had all gambled to possibly get some land in Africa, but none of which got any. They then carved around the borders of Africa and they mapped up the land. Britain and France, of course, getting the lion's share. They realised that there's now a massive chunk of land right in the middle of the continent that, because of course when they've carved it up, no one owns. Britain, of course, is straight away to say I want it. Germany not far behind them. However, ultimately they can't quite decide who gets this land. So in the end, King Leopold II of Belgium has a pro-gamer move. How about I have the land? And that way, and I being the specific word there, I, not Belgium, I, meaning the Congo was now the personal property of King Leopold II. All the other great powers agreed, well, apart from Britain, but Britain would always disagree on them not getting land because that's just the British Empire for you. But nevertheless, the tensions remained pretty calm, and in 1885 the Congo was now the personal possession of King Leopold II. Now the British, people such as Henry Morton Stanley and David Livingstone, already journeyed to places like Rhodesia and of course the Congo and had charted up land, so King Leopold II had a clear idea of what land and who people were living there and what what the area roughly looked like. Of course, pretty thick jungle and a few sort of savanna grasslands in between. King Leopold II made it pretty clear he wanted to spread Christianity throughout the Congo, and the trade would be open to other powers. So in which case, everyone kind of whined. This is just unfortunately just the tip of the iceberg. Immediately, honestly, between 1885 and 1908, when the Congo went from King Leopold II to Belgium, because King Leopold II died, unfortunately it was absolute torture. The truth behind what King Leopold II actually wanted to do was he wanted rubber to make tyres and of course bicycles, since in the 20th century bicycles became more popular. So what he really wanted is rubber and a few textiles. However, he was a downright fascist and probably early stage of a Nazi. He simply viewed as he wanted rubber. If he did, and if the black people and native people of the Congo did not make his rubber, he would torture them. What would commonly happen, a common practice, was he would go to, well, typically he would go to any, not him personally, but he would pay, of course, local people, be part of his own personal army, numbered around 15,000 in 1890, and they basically patrolled the land. They would typically whip with hippopotamus tail, or part of it that made up, would whip the native people if they did not get the rubber that they wanted from them. They would also typically cut off their hands if they had not delivered the rubber they needed or refused to work. However, again, King Leopold II deliberately cut off their hands rather than shoot them because, like any really evil fascist dictator, bullets are expensive, getting enough and cut someone off his hand is cheap. However, this became a sort of black market because King Leopold II, of course, didn't want just be people getting their hands cut off and wasted. Of course, if your hands cut off, you can't make rubber. So he would deliberately tax people who were cutting off people's hands, but then you would simply just see people cutting off hands to get more money and more tax, and it just became more and more for bloodshed, really. His probably most infamous thing King Leopold II was doing in the Congo was, of course, simply, I guess you could nickname it the Stone Pit. Basically, if a whole village, and a whole scale of a village refused to work for him, he would simply put all of them into a net, a very large net, fill it with stones and throw it into a lake and drown them all. Pretty dark. I'll move on from the dark stuff now. I understand it was quite heavy taking. However, this continued right for the rest of the 20th century without anyone really knowing. Now, legally, King Leopold II could actually do all this because of course, the abolishment of the Slave Trade Treaty, which was signed in 1832, Belgium didn't actually exist yet, neither did Germany. Belgium didn't exist, so even if it didn't exist to sign the treaty, it still was fine, and legally it could do it because it never signed it, because it didn't exist in 1832. It was part of the Flanders, etc., which hold off a video on that, possibly I might make in the future. Luckily in 1908, finally King Philip II died to the relief of the people in the Congo, and at that point he was roughly responsible for the deaths between 10 to 15 million people. I say estimates because of course we don't have the true figures, but 10 to 15 million people had died because of him in the Congo, which was absolutely horrible. So 1908 became a personal property then of Belgium. The British now looked for an opportunity to take a monopoly on that, as they'd be doing a lot more trade in the area. Of course, and by 1908, the British had that continuous colony between Cape Town and Cairo. However, in East Africa there was of course conflict with the Germans, who were also looking about land in the area. So the British were thinking of taking land from the new Belgian Congo in order to kind of, make it easy to journey across rather than going so close to Germany, East Africa. They would probably get shot at by the German soldiers. However, Belgium would not budge, in which case the British did not recognise the Belgian annexation of the Congo. However, in 1913, Belgium just deliberately started trading more with Germany to kind of scaremonger Britain into accepting it, and it did work. In 1913, Britain acknowledged it, and the Belgian Congo was now the Belgian Congo. And that was pretty much it. Throughout the First World War, it saw a little bit of fighting in the German East Africa, and took a little bit for Rwanda and Rwanda. That land, of course, then became part of the Belgian Congo, Belgium expanding its empire. Not much action in World War II. That part of Africa was never really dealt with. Of course, the Nazis did, of course, take over Belgium during World War II, but the British simply put troops in the Congo, and by 1945 removed them, and the Belgians went back in. The Belgian Congo finally gained independence on the 30th of June 1960, and that was it. It was now the Republic, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Bit of a long name, but still works. Democratic Republic of the Congo, and that was it. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. I'm quite pleased with that. I managed to condense that all into only about 6 minutes, which is pretty good. So that's simply the truth, because I think these parts of history are not simply often overlooked. A lot of scramble of Africa is often overlooked, which of course is really not how it should be. That's the end of the video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please like, subscribe. I'll definitely make more of these history videos in the future. Feel free to check out my one on the First World War that I've made 1 or 2 months ago now. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next YouTube video. Goodbye.